teams have a legitimate chance to win this conference, and 2 of them on display here today.
West Virginia is 3-0, perfect through the non-conference. Head coach Dana Holgerson, well, he's a child of the air raid, but he's brought balance to his offense here in Morgantown.
Mike Leach disciple has understood since he's come to the Big 12 the importance of running the football over 320 through the air, 200 on the ground. He's leaning on that running game with Justin Crawford, Russell Shell, because it's opening up things for Skylar Howard and this Mountaineer passing attack. All 3 levels, they're getting the running backs involved with the bubbles, the easy throws to the outside. Makes it easy on Skylar Howard, high efficiency passes. He's worked on the intermediate passing, as has Shelton Gibson. And when you run the football, you can take the top off the defense with a home run threat like that man right there, Shelton Gibson. This offense functioning on all cylinders and really striking a great balance so far this year.
Bill Snyder hasn't changed much in 25 years. Neither have his schemes on either side of the ball. His defense, #1 in the country this year.
It's basic, but boy, are they good what they do. Structurally and fundamentally sound at all 3 levels. Jordan Willis, 2nd in the Big 12 in sacks a year ago. Elijah Lee's a sideline-to-sideline linebacker. And Dante Barnett was hurt last year in the season opener. He's a quarterback of this defense. He's back, and he's playing at a very high level for this Kansas State defense.
There's the silver-haired Snyder, College Football Hall of Famer. Turned 77 on Friday. He's in the 4th year of a 5-year deal at Kansas State. There are a lot of folks wondering when he's going to call it quits, but tell you what, he's still doing a great job in Manhattan. Just a wonderful day for a ball game here in the mountain town of Morgantown. It rained in buckets yesterday. It's cloudy, but we think the rain is going to stay out of here this afternoon. 71 degrees, very light winds, and a sold-out crowd for homecoming here at Milan Puskar Stadium. Strike the field day here at Milan Puskar. Fans got the memo.
Beautiful setting here. This crowd, you can tell they understand the importance of this game. They showed up in droves. Boy, what a beautiful setting it is here in Morgantown, West Virginia.
West Virginia won the toss. They deferred. And is Byron Pringle back to return the opening kick from Josh Lambert, back from a 3-game team suspension. There he is, number 86. And we are underway. A short kickoff from Lambert. Bounces at the 21, and Dominic Heath dives on it. Just short of the 25-yard line. First look at Jesse Ertz, starting quarterback for Kansas State out of Burlington, Iowa. Won the starting job last year, too. Got hurt on the first snap of 2015, missed the entire season with a right ACL, but I'll tell you what, he's running with confidence. In fact, leads them in rushing.
Very athletic guy, and if you watch Kansas State football, they lean on the quarterback run game, and he's been coached up. Err on the side of tucking and running, not taking those chances with potential turnovers down the football field. Going to be a real key. Ertz throws the ball well here today.
He'll start out of the gun. Kansas State outscored FAU and Missouri State 98-7 the last 2 weeks. First offensive play of the game. And it's Justin Silman. Good run on first down. Let's take a look at the impact players, Dustin.
Yeah, on offense, Winston Dimmel, he does it all. The versatility, he's a fullback, he's a tight end, he's also a wildcat quarterback and even a little bit of a running back. Dominic Heath from the slot, their best option at wide receiver. And right there, 97, Noble Wachuku, the best defensive lineman for West Virginia, plays the run and the pass. And number 8, Kazir White, they say the best defender on this Mountaineer defense.
Kazir White, one of the 3 White brothers. 2 on this current version of the Mountaineers. Ertz, a little pop pass over the middle for Byron Pringle, and he makes the catch. The junior college transfer, he has been the talk of the wide receiver crew since spring practice, and Snyder's team will move the chains for the first time.
A staple of what they like to do. It's the quarterback counter right there. He just plays it, pops up last minute whenever he makes a decision to throw it as opposed to run, finds his target, Pringle, for the first down.
13 yards for the sophomore out of Tampa, and they may review this to make sure that that was indeed a catch.
It was a catch for a first down. The previous play is under further review.
Think he got it?
From that angle, it sure looks like his hands are underneath the football. Didn't see the pigskin touch the grass or the turf here at Pushkar Stadium.
I think he got it.
That's going to be tough for them to overturn. I think a catch right there by Pringle.
It's called a completion on the field. It has to be indisputable video evidence to overturn it. One more look. Our replay official is David Dumas, the Big 12.
Good job by Pringle getting his hands underneath the football, bringing it to his body. As he contacts the ground, remains in possession of football all the way through the catch.
Lead official is Cooper Castleberry.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. First down.
So first down and 10 from the 42-yard line of Kansas State. Jesse Ertz didn't need to pass much the last 2 weeks for the Wildcats.
No, they've been running the football. If the game, the score remains in their favor, that's what they'd like to do. But when they do throw it, play action passes, RPOs, they give a run appeal to make it easier throws down the field for the young quarterback.
RPO, that run pass option. We're going to be talking a lot about that here today. It's Silman again with the handoff. Well read by that West Virginia defense. Justin Arndt and Rasul Douglas leading the attack. A loss of 3 on the play.
It's a real key for West Virginia. Talking with Tony Gibson yesterday to get them in second, third, and long situations to be really good in early down spots for this West Virginia Mountaineer defense. And nice job setting the edge. Getting a tackle for loss on first down.
There's Tony Gibson, a West Virginia native. He's from coal mining country, Boone County. On second and 13, West Virginia brought pressure. And they dropped Silman in the backfield. It was David Long making his first career start at linebacker. The coaches really like him, and now it's 3rd and a mile.
Coaches told us yesterday he's got a nose for the football. You see him playing up. He's going to be called on the blitz. His number's called. Gets right behind the pulling guard with a big tackle for loss, setting up 3rd and long. They were raving about David Long yesterday. Big impact play right here on the opening drive.
Gibson said he might blitz 60% of the time today. And West Virginia calls a timeout. Well, this is a difficult situation for Jesse Ertz in this Kansas State offense right away. 3rd down and 18. Let's take a look at the Jesse Ertz scouting report for the 6'3", 212-pound junior out of Iowa.
He's athletic. He can get to the perimeter, running the football, a lot of quarterback run game, but he's quick to leave the pocket. If his first read's not there, he'll tuck it and go, get what he can get. He's been coached up to do that. The last thing they want is turnovers and inexperience. Again, we talked about it, his 4th collegiate game. He did start the opener last year, but hurt on the opening play, so just green behind the ears. Doesn't have a lot of football underneath his belt.
West Virginia has to be leery here of Ertz's ability to run, as you mentioned. Tony Gibson told us yesterday, they gave up 101 yards rushing to Taysom Hill at BYU last week. Ertz can hurt him that way too. We'll see if he tucks and runs here on 3rd and 18. Deep drop, plenty of time. He's pointing. Now he's in trouble. Hit, got rid of it. Nearly intercepted along the sideline, incomplete, 4th down.
It's a 3-man rush right there. Tony Gibson elects to drop 8. The rush never really got there, but a great job down the field in coverage. Ertz with nowhere to throw the football. And finally, the rush gets there at the end, forces the errant pass and the incompletion. Where's there to go? Nowhere to go. Everyone's covered down the football field. Great job right there in coverage by the West Virginia Mountaineers defense.
3rd-year punter for Kansas State, Nick Walsh. Gary Jennings back to return, standing inside the 25. No fair catch. Maybe he should have. How about that? A Houdini act to get away from a couple, 3 tacklers. and had about a 7-yard return after the 43-yard punt. Skyler Howard, the 6-foot, 207-pound senior out of Fort Worth. He's been starting since late 2014, a career 56% on his completion rate, but completing 69% this year.
They're figuring out his strengths and they're playing to them. A good running game has also helped him. Experienced offensive line, receivers that are playing much better. Everyone around him and Skyler Howard playing at a high level.
Handoff. Russell Shell, the senior workhorse. Not much operating room. It's going to be a loss of a half yard. And sure, Mike-Uel Moore, the linebacker, has been around the ball a lot the first few weeks for Kansas State. Makes the stop. And West Virginia typically likes to run with tempo. Quick over the ball, 2nd and 11. Howard taking a shot deep down the field to Gibson. Shelton Gibson, their big play wide receiver, gets it into Kansas State territory. He beat DJ Reed for a 42-yard reception.
And that's what Shelton Gibson gives you in this offense, averaging over 22 yards a catch. They like to match up with DJ Reed over there, the smaller, undersized cornerback. Shelton Gibson's got enough speed to run past anybody in this conference, and you see it right there. Great job by Skyler Howard, putting enough air underneath the football, and Gibson tracks it, gets the big gain on 2nd down.
Breakout season last year for Gibson. Now here's Dakeil Shorts. Inside the 25-yard line is West Virginia. He's working in striking distance now. Going back to Gibson. He only had 1 catch last year against Kansas State. He was just chomping at the bit to have a big day here against the Wildcats, and he's had a big play already. 2nd down and about 4. Howard in trouble. Rolls to his left. He can run too. 1st down. Moore escorted him out, but it's a 7-yard pickup.
Where Skyler Howard wanted to go to the slant right there to kill Shorts. It wasn't there. He surveyed the field, went through all his progressions. No one was there. Nice job. Protection by the West Virginia offensive line. And Skyler Howard, athletic quarterback in his own right, gets out the back door. Nice downfield blocking by Shelton Gibson, the wide receiver, to help spring that 1st down run.
See in the red zone, West Virginia, 6 touchdowns and 13 possessions. They want to start doing better than that. They left some points on the field. Here is Shell again, looking for room around the left side. He was cut off nicely by Kendall Adams, the free safety. Again, this is the #1 defense in the country, but certainly their toughest challenge in a month.
They haven't faced an offense like this. West Virginia Mountaineer, balanced attack, being able to throw it vertically as well as run it at a high level.
Howard quickly to the outside. Caught by Karan White. And he's going to be dumped for no gain. Dante Barnett, the strong safety, 4-year starter, hasn't missed a beat since his return.
Last year, they lose him in the opener. The quarterback of this defense, he's been back, playing at a high level. A great open field tackler in Dante Barnett.
Opening series for the Mountaineers. They're knocking on the door. 3rd and 7. Big play here for this Kansas State defense. Howard, inside handoff to Shell. Backing his way toward the marker, but he's short. About 2 yards so. Tanner Wood, the defensive end, brought him down. So 4th down, and we'll see what West Virginia decides to do here.
Trotting out the kicking team to take their points while they can get it. An interesting decision right there by Dana Holgerson. The numbers told him he wanted to hand it off. You expect in a 3rd and 8 spot to put the ball in Skyler Howard's hand, but a handoff there leads to the field goal attempt here by Lambert.
Lambert, 2 years ago, hit 16 field goals over 40 yards, an NCAA record. He has been fantastic in his career. Again, coming off suspension, sets up here for an easy one by his standards. Their flag's down.
A delay of game by number 15 of the offense. It's a 5-yard penalty, and it's still 4th down.
Special teams could very well decide this game. again today. That has been the case the last 2 years.
That's right. Kick return game for Kansas State has really been what's won them the last 2 football games. And Dana Holgerson spoke to us yesterday, some added emphasis all week on the special teams game, looking at the sidelines, not happy with the early penalty by his kicking unit right there.
We'll back it up 5 yards now. A 30-yard attempt for Josh Lambert, the senior out of Texas, out of the hold of Billy Kinney. Ooh, that's ugly. No good. So West Virginia marches it deep into Kansas State territory, but they come up empty. Homecoming in West Virginia. Week 4 of the NFL season coming our way already. Kick it off with us at 10 a.m. Eastern on Sunday, NFL Insiders. Then at 11, new Sunday NFL Countdown with Chris Berman and the crew. There's the draft class for West Virginia last year, and 5 players drafted, 4 on defense. It's a rebuilt defense for Tony Gibson, but not too bad. Bending, not breaking, and we saw that on the first Kansas State series.
That's right. You know, lose 8 starters from a year ago. Devastating loss with Drayvon Askew-Henry here in fall camp.
That's Pringle. And he'll get across the 25-yard line. It's a 3-3-5 West Virginia defense. And there were some people that coming into the week, Dusty, thought this might not be a great defensive matchup against Kansas State.
They've struggled to stop the run. You know, they're not very big. They're more athletic. They've got a lot of DBs on the field. Very aggressive style defense. And Tony Gibson told us he's going to load it up. He's going to force them in situations to have to pass. And so far, off to a good start for the Mountaineer defense.
Winston Dimmel's in the backfield with Ertz, who checks at the line. He better hurry up. Play clock down to 1. I don't know if they got the snap off in time. Incomplete, 3rd down and 5. Intended for Corey Sutton.
Expect to see that a lot. Heavy blitzing, man-to-man coverage. Tony Gibson will go 0 coverage with no safety over the top. He trusts his guys on the outside. Wants that ball to come out of Jesse Ertz's hand fast. Doesn't care necessarily if it leads to sacks. He just wants that ball to come out quick, as you saw right there on 2nd down.
This West Virginia defense gave up over 500 yards to BYU last week, trying to get off the field here.
An illegal substitution on the offense. They broke the huddle with 12 players.
That'll help.
A 5-yard penalty, and it's still 3rd down.
Well, that's an area that's really been upsetting the Wizard, Bill Snyder. They pride themselves on not beating themselves with penalties, with turnovers. The last 5 years have finished 1st or 2nd in fewest penalties. And so far this year, Clay, over 7 penalties a game and almost 60 yards in penalties. That's not what Bill Snyder wants, and I can promise you, not going to be happy about that procedure right there.
They took 13 2 weeks ago. His glasses started fogging up. 3rd down and 10 after the penalty. Here comes that blitz again for West Virginia. Ertz got rid of it. Nobody home near the 30-yard line. And the Cats are going to have to punt again. Closest receiver was Dominic Heath, but he was barely in the area code.
Tony Gibson bringing pressure just as he told us. Pressure coming from the field right there. Jesse Ertz feels it, gets rid of the football. Dominic Heath turns the wrong way. And another West Virginia Mountaineer stop here early in the 1st quarter.
2nd punt for Walsh. Jennings calls for the fair catch this time. Good field position for Skylar Howard and the Mountaineers. They'll start at the 41. Midway through the 1st. Still scoreless here in Morgantown.
Brendan Fitzgerald with a studio update in the Big 12. Baylor was down 14 points after 3. They scored 17 in the 4th, capped off by this Chris Callahan game-winning field goal, and Baylor still unbeaten. Clay, back to you.
All right, Brendan, thank you very much. Dusty Dvorak, Clay Matvick back here in Morgantown. West Virginia 3-0 coming into the day. Baylor 5-0, the only other unbeaten team in the Big 12. But barely winning against Iowa State, even if it is in Ames, doesn't look good. Things haven't looked good the first few weeks of the season for the Big 12. Where are things at right now for this conference?
Really look at the non-conference. 1-5 so far this year against ranked opponents. 3-6 in the non-conference against Power 5 opponents. It's not very good. I don't know if there's any great teams in this league. And when you look at the college football playoff, I don't think anybody runs the table. With the non-conference that Baylor played, West Virginia sits there undefeated. I think it's going to be a real struggle for the Big 12 to get a candidate in the college football playoff.
Was that a catch? Yes, it was. Dropped, and Elijah Lee, the team's top tackler, comes up with the recovery. And Kansas State takes over the first turnover of this ballgame. That was ruled a catch on the field, and they're going to take a look at it.
Well, Clay, big hit right there by Duke Shelley coming up. Plant and drive, making the hit right there on White, and great concentration by Elijah Lee. Juggles it a little bit, but clearly gets his hands underneath it, secures the interception, and Kansas State back in business on offense.
Karan White took a pop. He's going to stand up. Kansas State now has great field position. Warmack on that last run. Lee, he's a star, one of the guys you talked about at the top of the broadcast.
Sideline to sideline guy, very athletic. A Sunday player when I watch him on film, and coming up big right there with the Kansas State turnover. Kansas State leading the Big 12 this year. A turnover margin at +4. Their 8th takeaway of this early season.
Both teams said turnovers and special teams will be so key in this ballgame. We get our first turnover, goes Kansas State's way. They've never lost to West Virginia in Big 12 play. Deep shot intended for Dominic Heath. And that'll bring up 3rd down and 10. Douglas running step for step. Heath, the leading receiver through 3 games for Kansas State, but Ertz couldn't find him.
Works out of the slot. Too much on that right there. Jesse Ertz taking a shot down the field, coming up empty, setting up another 3rd and long. We talked at the onset. This is the last thing Kansas State wants. They want to stay in front of the chains, and exactly what Tony Gibson had hoped for. Good on 1st and 2nd down to set up 3rd and long to make it difficult on the young quarterback, Jesse Ertz.
Island Pushkar, one of the loudest stadiums in the country. Time to throw for Ertz. Good pocket. Got rid of it over the middle, and there's Pringle. Byron Pringle, who got his first Kansas State touchdown last week on a deflection. We talked to the coaching staff. Dana Dimmel wants to use him more. They go to him on a big situation there and convert.
Good pocket right there, just a 3-man rush. Pringle finds a soft spot in the zone right there on a little dig. Really good job by Jesse Ertz stepping into that throw, delivering it on time and on target for the 1st down.
Gain of 18. This is the furthest into West Virginia territory today for Kansas State. Here comes the blitz again. Ertz read it. Incomplete to Deontay Burton. Boy, that was a good pickup by Ertz to recognize the pressure coming and throw a pretty good pass down the sideline. It's just a little too out of the reach.
Tony Gibson bringing everybody in the kitchen sink. 32, Justin Silman slowing down the blitzing linebacker, Al-Rashid Benton, and allowing Jesse Ertz the opportunity to throw the football down the field just over the hands of his target, Burton.
West Virginia only 2 sacks on the year, nearly got one there. Ertz on 2nd and 10. Pressure coming. Ochuku. And he got rid of it. Down to the 5-yard line, Dominic Heath. 1st down, goal to go after the 26-yard reception by the sophomore out of North Carolina.
Now, watching film against BYU, there's a soft spot in this defense when they go zone. The curls, the digs, they are there. We saw it on 3rd down from the other side to Pringle, and it once again right there to Dominic Heath out of the slot.
Winston Dimmel in to run the Wildcat. Bounces into the line. Still moving those feet. And it takes a lot to bring him down. He's 6'1", 235, the son of offensive coordinator Dana Dimmel. In goal line situations, it's not uncommon to see number 38 called.
He's the Wildcat quarterback at times. They'll also go with Charles Jones, but when they get in the red area, Winston Dimmel is the guy they go to. He's accounted for 6 of the 10 rushing touchdowns for this Kansas State football team this year.
Dimmel stays in there as the Wildcat quarterback. And I think timeout was called before the snap. And Kansas State calling their first
30-second
timeout.
30 seconds.
With 4:43 to go here in the first quarter.
Jesse Ertz really coming alive there, making a couple of nice passes down the field. Finding both Pringle as well as Dominique Heath. Really nice job by the young quarterback. That was the question. Can he make the throws down the field? As you see him find Dominique Heath right there. Little soft spot over the outstretched hands of the linebacker, Justin Arndt.
And how about the time that Ertz has been given to throw? I mean, it's a young, inexperienced offensive line, but his pocket has been pretty clean here in the first quarter.
When they haven't blitzed.
When they haven't blitzed.
Right. When Tony Gibson has elected to play coverage. On that last one there to Heath, it was a 4-man pressure. Play coverage on the back end. They can't get home. Credit this Kansas State offensive line. You're exactly right, Clay. When the numbers are in their favor, have given him a nice clean pocket to step up and fire the football down the field.
7th play of the drive after the turnover. Kansas State trying to capitalize. Pressure again. It's Ertz on the keeper, making his way to the end zone. Touchdown, Wildcats. That knee has been hobbled a couple of times, but we've said it before. He runs with confidence.
You see right there, Jesse Ertz, the little zone read play. Gets what he wants. The outside defender goes with the zone. He keeps, and a very athletic quarterback scampers into the end zone for the first points of the ball game.
Matthew McCrane, junior kicker, makes it 7-0. A mistake by West Virginia at midfield, and the Wildcats march it down and punch it in.
Elijah Lee with the pick. They take advantage. They go down the field to Dominique Heath. And Jesse Ertz doing what he does best, showing the athleticism, getting to the perimeter and in for the Kansas State touchdown.
Kansas State's 8th takeaway of the year is turned into points, and it's 7-0 Wildcats here on the road in Morgantown. And that play was actually ruled an interception for Elijah Lee. Never touched the ground. It's a pick for the Wildcats.
Big hit by Duke Shelley right there, knocking it out of Karan White's hands, and Elijah Lee, Johnny on the spot, making the nice pick for Kansas State.
Here's Shelton Gibson on the return for West Virginia. Hit short of the 20 and dropped at the 19-yard line. Flags come in. With 4:36 to go here in the opening quarter. And Gibson is slow to get up.
Holding by number 82 of the return team. The penalty's half the distance to the goal, and it's first down.
So Devontae Mathis, Mountaineers receiver, on kick return.
It's a guy they can't afford to lose, Clay.
He ranks 4th nationally in all-purpose yards, in part because of his return efforts. 185 all-purpose yards per game. Shelton Gibson having a terrific junior year. Now here comes Dana Holgerson.
And the deep threat for this West Virginia offense takes the top off of defenses. You see Shelton Gibson gets tangled up with Kansas State defender and knocks into his own man. Looks like that ankle, that knee kind of got caught underneath him.
And now he's up to his feet, and this is good news. You know, you talk to the coaching staff, and they'll tell you about Gibson. He's not just fast now. He is a polished receiver. I mean, his talent was good enough the last year or so. Now he is a complete receiver, and he's devastating.
Well-rounded. He's worked on his intermediate routes that he runs, the digs, the posts. He's such a great threat on the outside, but as you said, Clay, now a well-rounded, complete receiver has been a huge weapon for this offense and Skyler Howard.
This hasn't been a good start for West Virginia offensively. They drove into Kansas State territory on their first series and missed a 30-yard field goal. And then on the last series, one play, and they turned it over on an interception. Marcus Sims, the redshirt freshman receiver, will get a handful.
Watching film this week, Clay, Kansas State, a heavy second down blitz team. Don't be surprised if West Virginia tries to mash their foot on the gas on second down situations to prevent Kansas State from getting into exactly what they want to. And right on cue, they muddle huddle.
And good to see Shelton Gibson out there quickly.
He was working his shoulder a little bit, so maybe it had nothing to do with his leg whatsoever.
Let's see if Howard targets him. Throws it over the middle. It is complete. No, it's Da'Keil Shorts. He's the senior slot receiver. We usually see him as the target man on third down, but they go to him there on second down and complete it. Impact players?
Justin Crawford, what a great story he is. And just doing a really nice job leading this team rushing. Shelton Gibson we've talked about.
This is Justin Crawford, the JUCO All-American transfer.
And then Jordan Willis, the defensive end, second in the Big 12 and sacks a year ago, plays the run as well as the pass. And Dante Barnett, a downhill safety, quarterback of this defense, very smart and seasoned veteran on the back end of that Wildcat defense.
Impressed with this defense so far. On 2nd and 10. Howard is complete. And that is Javon Durant, who led the team with 6 catches last week in the win over BYU. That's going to be about a yard short of the first down marker, a pickup of 9. Well, they did get it. They are moving the chain, so first down for West Virginia. This is Crawford. They've been putting more and more on the junior's plate. They had 12 touches last week, over 100 yards. They really like this young man.
Hard not to like this guy, and got such a great story behind him. Had 2 children, married in the offseason. And
Howard over the middle. Did he make that catch? Yes, Javon Durant, the sophomore out of Miami, plucked it out of the air for a gain of 11 and a first down into Kansas State territory.
Great hands right there by Durant. Snares it, brings it to his body, completes the catch right there. Back to Crawford. He's got the children, he's got the wife, been working at Taco Bell up until fall camp. Dan Holgerson said, young man, appreciate what you're doing, but you're going to have to quit that job when football season comes around. But a guy that uses that as motivation each and every day, and they love the impact he's made here at West Virginia.
He gets it here. Crawford. He's got great speed. We haven't seen him cut loose yet. When he gets into the open field, look out. Yeah, the Mountaineers needed another running back after Wendell Smallwood declared for the NFL. They got this guy in January. He has gotten up to speed quickly.
It's been outstanding. Catching the football well.
2nd and 7, going deep for Gibson. Incomplete. 3rd down and 7. Let's go to the studio for an update with Brendan.
Thanks very much, Clay. Texas A&M going on the road to Columbia, South Carolina after falling behind early. Trevor Knight in from 4 yards out. It's tied in Columbia. Back to you.
The Oklahoma transfer, Trevor Knight, he's had some pretty good success for the Aggies. It's the 9th play of the drive for the Mountaineers, down a touchdown. At the 43-yard line, 3rd down and 7. Howard quickly looks over the middle, and it's complete. There's Da'Keil Shorts again. He's their most consistent receiver, according to the quarterback.
Kansas State brings pressure off the edge. Skylar Howard identifies it, hits his wide receiver, replacing the blitzing linebacker there off the edge.
This offense starting to run with the tempo that they like. Crawford again, he'll get 3. Number 13 nationally in total offense, one of just 7 teams averaging 300 on the ground and 200 passing.
Very balanced, keeping defenses on their heels. Very potent for Dana Holgorsen, this offense so far.
Twins to either side. Howard sets on 2nd and 7. Taking a shot toward the end zone. Incomplete, out of bounds. That's Marcus Sims. The intended receiver, Duke Shelley. In the coverage is a pair of number 8's battle. So now what? 3rd down and 7.
Well, Kansas State's not a team that's going to bring a lot of pressure on 3rd down. Not that they won't ever do it, but I don't expect it here. You got to think Skylar Howard, the kill shorts, his security blanket that he likes to go to in different situations. Be a guy you have to look for here on 3rd down. He's not on the field. He's not on the field.
To the outside, incomplete, and it's 4th down. That was Karan White, but that didn't look comfortable for Howard or White.
Ball sails over Karan White's head.
I'm going to go for it.
4 down territory right here for Dana Holgorsen and the Mountaineers.
Plenty of time. Now Howard in trouble. Incomplete. In and out of the hands of Shelton Gibson. That's a dangerous pass for Howard. And Kansas State will take over on downs. Well, 2 of the 3 drives for the Mountaineers have gone into Kansas State territory. They've come up empty twice now.
Right there, Kansas State brings a blitz. Some pressure from the middle right there with Lee. Moore. Get it blocked up. As you see Wood continue to work the arm over on the tackle. Gets the pressure. Forces the rush throw. And a pass breakup and a big stop for Kansas State.
Cats go back to work. Charles Jones, his first touch. 3rd year as the Cats' primary running back, but he's been in the coach's doghouse a little bit as of late. Well, tonight, 8 o'clock, ABC, Louisville and Clemson in Death Valley. Going to be a great ball game. Deshaun Watson was a preseason favorite for the Heisman. Now, Lamar Jackson kind of upstaged him. The offense versus the defense. Your old defensive coordinator, Brent Venables, how's he going to stop Jackson?
He's going to lean on that defensive line. Texting with him earlier in the week. Loves his defensive line. And they're going to have to do a good job putting pressure and making it tough on Lamar Jackson.
Well, sidearm pass, complete. Ertz to Pringle. Another 1st down here for the Wildcats.
Another RPO right there, run pass option. Jesse Ertz elects to throw the football. He waits. And he finds his target, Mr. Pringle, for another Kansas State 1st down.
And that's going to do it for the 1st quarter. Pretty good one for Kansas State. They've got the lead by a touchdown, taking advantage of a West Virginia turnover. Homecoming here in Morgantown, but the Wildcats lead at 7-0 after 15 minutes. Look at the choreography with the fans during the break, spelling out Mountaineers, and that takes some planning. And a Stripe the Field day here at Milan Puskar Stadium. So the fans in the appropriate section wearing either a navy blue or a gold t-shirt. We get ready to start the 2nd quarter. 7-0 Kansas State. It was a sloppy 1st quarter for West Virginia. Wildcats have the football on 1st down. Ertz going to the air. Looking for Pringle. Incomplete. There's a flag that came in fairly late. Jeremy Tyler, the free safety. Did he interfere?
Jesse Ertz takes the big shot from Justin Arndt. They're going to call the flag. Might be on
Pass interference by number 2 of the defense.
Yeah.
It's a 15-yard penalty and an automatic 1st down.
Trayvon Askew Henry was the starter at the free safety position before the year, but hurt his left knee in the preseason. It's been Tyler's job since.
You go man-to-man coverage right there. A little bit of contact, Clay, but not much. I mean, he got his arm in there, but
You wouldn't have thrown it.
I wouldn't have thrown the flag right there, but I'm a defensive guy, so there you go.
Looking out for your guys.
I like to let them play a little bit out there.
Charles Jones in the backfield with Ertz. A play fake. Pop-type pass from Ertz. That time incomplete. Intended for Pringle. Tony Gibson, he said to you and I yesterday during our meeting, if I could do it all over, I'd be a coach on the offensive side of the ball. Stopping these offenses today is really tough.
Doesn't worry about the yards or really the points. Things he looks for success for his defense. Turnovers, 3 and outs, and third down conversions. And this West Virginia Mountaineer team a season ago as good as their gets in taking the ball away. And they've been good for a couple of seasons now on third down. This year it's been a struggle and something that they really wanted to improve on here today, getting off the field in third down situations.
On 2nd and 10, they leave a big hole up the middle, and Kansas State takes advantage. There's Charles Jones, the senior out of Louisiana. Gets very close to a first down before Kaiser White made the stop. So it'll be third down and short.
It's the zone read right there. Really nice job. The interior of the Kansas State offensive line opening up a big hole for Charles Jones.
Jesse Ertz plunges ahead. He's got it. Getting back to Gibson, he says that the game is officiated in a way now that really favors offenses.
There's no question about that. You can't hit the quarterback low. You can't hit the quarterback high. You can't touch receivers out down the field. I mean, it's no picnic, Clay, to play defense in today's college football, especially to play defense in a league like the Big 12.
It was really easy, though, back in the early 2000s.
Yes, it was. Fortunate to have some success back then.
And a marker. And another delay of game, perhaps?
Delay of game by number 16 of the offense.
Well,
it's a 5-yard penalty, and it's still first down.
Second penalty against Kansas State.
Bill Schneider looks on, a little bit of disgust on his face.
8th season for Bill since unretiring in 2009. He considered retiring again after last season. It would be interesting to see what the end of this campaign brings for Bill. Again, he's got another year left on his contract.
He's just been such a staple in Manhattan, Kansas, and the job that he's done, the success that they've been able to have there has just been tremendous. And, you know, I know Coach is getting up there in age, but man, still has energy and coaching at a high level.
Ertz complete. Caught by Isaiah Zuber, the athletic freshman from Stone Mountain, Georgia. And they're going to spot it down at the 20-yard line. So Kansas State back in the red zone, leading by a touchdown as we go under 13 minutes to play before halftime.
Jesse Ertz completing another pass. Really nice route right there by Zuber. Man-to-man coverage. The corner bails. He stops, turns around. Big pickup on first down.
Charles Jones behind Jesse Ertz. He was disciplined last week by Coach Snyder. And that play clock winding down, and Kansas State has to use a timeout. They have one left. They got to get this worked out. It's been a problem here getting the ball snapped. With that said, Kansas State leads here in Morgantown. All right, Brendan. Michigan hasn't beaten a top 10 team since Rich Rod was there. It was back in 2008. Rich Rod was here once upon a time. Winston Dimmel in the backfield again for Kansas State. On 2nd down and 2. The West Virginia 20. Play fake. Ertz. Incomplete, intended for Deontay Burton. Ertz didn't look comfortable throwing the football there. A little off balance. And it's now 3rd down and 2.
They go with the play action pass right there. Looks out to his target. Burton, who comes back, works back to the quarterback. And Jesse Ertz didn't get a good base to step into that throw. Throws it high. Burton unable to come down with it. 3rd and 2. This is exactly where Kansas State wants to be. Feels like a run coming up right here, Clay.
And Jones is the deep setback. Dimmel out there. That play clock winding down again. And another timeout call by Kansas State. And they've exhausted their first half timeouts.
30-second timeout.
How do you fix this? Because it seems to be a problem for Bill Snyder's team.
They got to get into their play quicker. They continue to look over at the sidelines with about 10, 11 left. They want to change the play. Jesse Ertz has to come up to the line, change it, communicate with his offensive line, and by then, they got to burn a timeout because they're going to get delay a game. So they need to get into what they want to do quicker. We know with Kansas State, they want to chew up and eat up every second off that play clock and snap it at around 2, at around 1. But the problem is, by the time they change the play, they make their corrections, they don't have enough time to get the ball snapped. So get into what you're doing a little bit quicker. Look over to the side, communicate with the coaches, and make your communications with the offensive line about 5 seconds quicker, and that should alleviate some of the issues they got going right here.
Our offensive coordinator is Dana Dimmel. There he is, 19th year on staff at Kansas State, former head coach at Wyoming and Houston. His son is Winston, the fullback. He's not on the field right now. Charles Jones is in the backfield with Jesse Ertz. Out of the timeout. 3rd and 2. Pass incomplete off the hands of Heath. And the field goal unit will come out.
Not a big fan of this call by Dana Dimmel. He likes to go gun, just throw the slant right there to Heath. They bring pressure from all over, as you'd expect. And the pass incomplete right there by Dominic Heath, off his fingertips on 3rd down.
Matthew McCrane has missed only 3 field goals in his career, but that includes the last 2 attempts. He got that one from 37 yards. And Kansas State adds to its lead. It's 10-0 now with just over 12 minutes to go in the half. Interesting play call by Kansas State on 3rd down in the red zone.
They go gun, they throw the slant there to Dominic Heath. This is Kansas State. They run the football. They live for 3rd and 2. That's what they do. In the red zone, they're as good as anybody in the country at converting right there, and especially 3rd and short. You got Wildcat open with Winston Dimmel. You got a dual threat quarterback who can run it with the zone read. The pop passes even. That's the type of pass I'd like to see on a 3rd down. So interesting play selection that I didn't necessarily like from Dana Dimmel there on 3rd and 2.
All right, you're surprised by that call. Are you also surprised by the futility by West Virginia on offense? This is the number 13 unit in the country, after all.
Well, they're playing a pretty good defense in their own right in Kansas State. And I think the real thing, missed opportunities from the West Virginia offense. They had a nice drive to start the game. It results in no points with the missed field goal. And then coming right back, you had the big takeaway by Kansas State. So Kansas State taking advantage of opportunities, and West Virginia hasn't quite got it rolling offensively.
They'll get another chance here after the Gibson return. Gets him out across the 25-yard line. 125 yards of total offense for West Virginia. Skylar Howard was 31 of 40 last week with an interception and a touchdown in that win in Landover, Maryland over BYU. Your thoughts on him so far today?
You know, he's hit the deep ball. He's taken several shots down the field. I think he's found his receivers in the intermediate passing game. So it's early.
It's complete here. It's going to be a gain of about 6 as Javon Durant makes the catch.
And that pass right there is what he's really worked on, the intermediate passing game. He's a tough, hard-nosed guy. Had no Division I or FCS offers coming out, and now he's right here in his 3rd year as a starting quarterback. He has a great understanding of the offense, does Skylar Howard, but he's had the tendency to throw it to the other team. 17 picks in his last 16 games coming in, and already an interception here early on today.
Well, he's over 100 yards passing today. That complete to his running back, Russell Shell, for a gain of 10. Howard now 10 of 15 for 109.
I will point out, I can't put that interception on him that he has in the stat sheet. That's a great play by the Kansas State defender to knock the ball out. Elijah Lee securing the interception. But you know as well as I do, Clay, that still goes down on the quarterback's statistics as a turnover and a bad play.
Inside handoff to Shell. He is a very patient runner. We certainly saw that last week against BYU. Shows some patience there, waits for a block, and turns that into a pretty nice run on first down.
Powerful runner, runs behind his pads, the former 5-star running back. First went to Pittsburgh, transferred here to West Virginia, but you're right, patience right there for a nice pickup on first down.
On 2nd and 4, they're going to pass. Howard, lost time, and down he goes. There's Jordan Willis doing what he does. 16.5 career sacks. Add another one to that tally.
And this is what he does the best right here as he's working on 77. The right tackle, Lazard, who had struggle. You see a little bit of a spin move right there. He went with power with the bull rush. It wasn't there. So he counters, gets the rip up. He counters, ice picks right there in the back. And he gets a nice sack of Skylar Howard, setting up a 3rd and long situation for the West Virginia offense.
The scouts love Jordan Willis. More pressure off the edge. Howard stepped out of a tackle, got it back to the line of scrimmage, and then is driven down into the field turf by Tanner Wood, number 34, junior defensive end. 4th down, and West Virginia has to kick.
Reggie Walker right there. It's their speed package. All defensive ends on the field. As you see him right there working on the redshirt freshman making his first start. Or sorry, that was Adam Pankey, the veteran offensive tackle. My apologies, but a great rush right there by the backup defensive end, the pass rush specialist, Reggie Walker, forcing the pressure and getting the defense off the field.
Billy Kinney, the punt. Dominic Keefe slammed down at the 10-yard line. 45-yard punt, well covered by West Virginia, but K-State's lead is 10. 10-0 Kansas State on the road here in Morgantown. Bill Snyder has produced a lot of wins. He's produced some great coaches, too. How about Kirk Ferentz, who worked for him at Iowa as his D-line coach when he was the defensive coordinator under Hayden Fry. Bob Stoops, first big break for Bob. Kansas State defensive coordinator in the early 90s, and Brett Bielema was the D-coord there in the early 2000s. Bill Snyder producing Bob Stoops, who was your mentor at Oklahoma.
Yes, he is. They got a big one on their hands, but I had a chance to talk with Coach this week.
And Silman for a gain of 2.
Coach Stoops talking about Bill Snyder, what he meant to him. You know, I didn't realize Coach Stoops played at Iowa when Coach Snyder was the coach. I had 5 years there. He was the GA, the defensive GA, so he ran Bill Snyder's scout team defenses against his offense for 5 years. And then, as you mentioned, gave him his first big break as the DB's coach there at Kansas State and then the defensive coordinator. And Bob Stoops said when they got there to Kansas State, the state that it was in hadn't won a game in 3 seasons. That opening spring, 4 total defensive linemen on the roster.
In and out of the hands of Pringle, incomplete, 3rd down and 8.
Only 2 of those guys were even on scholarship. They only had a max of 45 scholarship players. And Coach was telling me, you know, I was able to win a lot of big games with big game Bob Stoops, but he was telling me about their first win at Kansas State against North Texas State. They get the lead, they lose the lead, and they win in dramatic fashion. They run up the hill, they ring the bell, the fans charge the field, they take the goalpost, and they run it all the way to Aggieville. And Coach Stoops told me to this day, one of his most cherished, favorite victories of his entire coaching career, that first one there at Kansas State.
Ertz ducks the pressure, throws it deep. Had a man, but he overshot Deontay Burton. And it's 4th down. Well, Bill Snyder, his team will come off the field here and have to punt, but it's been a Hall of Fame career for Bill. Again, turned 77 on Friday, inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame last December. There's his wife, Sharon, and his entire family. Big night for Bill and the entire Kansas State program.
Well deserved, getting in the College Football Hall of Fame. One of the all-time greats.
3rd punt for Kansas State. Gary Jennings on this return gets it to the 40 and to the 42-yard line, but there's a marker down after that 50-yard punt.
one of the things about Coach Snyder, people don't realize the state of the program. Hadn't won a game in 3 seasons when he takes over. Build it up. I mean, late 90s, they were as good as there was in college football. Right there on the cusp of playing for a national championship. And then whenever he leaves, Clay, to see how quickly it fell back down.
Yeah.
And then he comes back and it gets built right back up. I think that speaks to the greatness of that man right there, Bill Snyder.
Holding by number 13 of the receiving team. It's a 10-yard penalty, and it's first down.
West Virginia holding call on Rasul Douglas. Mountaineers have it. They need to get it going on offense, down 10.
Brandon Fitzgerald back in studio. Coming up at halftime, Kevin Carter joins me. We get a look into West Virginia's recruiting and how they step outside the Big 12 footprint. A wild comeback for Baylor keeps the Bears unbeaten, and also a top 10 throwdown at the Big House. An update on Wisconsin and Michigan. Back to you, Clay.
Okay, Brendan, thank you very much. And I'm sure they'll be talking about the Big 12 games. Baylor barely winning at Iowa State. Texas loses at Oklahoma State. The early games in the Big 12. There's Crawford. Big first down run. They'll move the chains.
Big hole right there over the left side for Crawford. And you see his vision. And boy, when he sees a hole, he hits that next gear. And a big gain on first down.
Howard, screen pass. Karan White, the catch. And he gets it to the 45-yard line. Down at the 46, Dante Barnett on the tackle. West Virginia, a heavy dose of that last week. Haven't seen it a lot yet today, the screen pass.
Getting it outside to their wide receivers, the bubbles, the slip screens, easy throws for Skylar Howard to get their playmakers the ball out in space and force you to make nice open field tackles.
West Virginia 0-4 against Kansas State since joining the Big 12. Down 10. 7:35 to go here in the second quarter. Play fake. Howard out to DeKeel Shorts. He's got a first down and more into Kansas State territory out at the 42. College football season covered when you stream every game live on the ESPN app and on Watch ESPN. Download the app or visit watchespn.com today. Another busy Saturday in college football. Another play action pass. Howard has time, now steps up. Still looking downfield. Throws on the run, incomplete. Again, DeKeel Shorts, who they call a safety blanket, was the intended receiver.
Well, he wanted to go to Shelton Gibson. As a play action pass, slant and go by Gibson on the outside. Skylar Howard looked, he was covered. So you're exactly right. He goes back to his secondary target, his security blanket to kill Shorts. But as he's throwing on the move wide of the mark, he throws high and outside for the incompletion.
This is the third drive into Wildcats territory for the Nears. They got to get some points here.
Got to turn these opportunities into points against this Kansas State defense.
Crawford lowers his head, gets it inside the 40. We have seen more Justin Crawford. Then we have Shell. Again, they're putting more and more on his plate every week. Third down and 8. Howard running out of time. Got rid of it, incomplete. He was looking for Crawford as the safety valve. And so now fourth down. And Dana Holgorsen not happy.
They really put their foot on the gas right there to try to speed up the tempo, and uncharacteristically we see Kansas State bringing some pressure. They bring more off the outside, condenses that pocket just enough to prevent Skylar Howard from surveying the field and stepping into the throw. Dirt's one out there to the out route, and Kansas State gets off the field once again.
Another empty possession for West Virginia. Billy Kinney on to punt for the second time, trying to flip the field. High booming kick, and did he keep it out of the end zone? Yes, he did. They're going to spot it at the 2-yard line. Well done. Nana Kyram fielding it and keeping it out of the end zone somehow, Dusty.
Feet go in the end zone, ball does it. Big time play on teams for West Virginia.
All right, let's go to the studio. Brendan with an update.
Clay, we go to the ACC. North Carolina on the road in Tallahassee taking on Florida State. Mitch Trubisky, 11 for 12 for 133 and a touchdown through the air. Here, tucks it and gets the pylon for one on the ground. It's 21-0 Tar Heels. Back to you.
Wow. North Carolina, we saw them last week, Dusty. Yeah. That's an impressive football team.
It is, and boy, flexing the muscles in Tallahassee.
Handoff inside the end zone. Dalvin Warmack gets it out. Doesn't get much breathing room for this offense. 6:25 to go here before halftime.
Tony Gibson had everything in the kitchen sink up at the line of scrimmage. Right there on first down.
Boy, his defense really could use a turnover here. A
yes,
big play. Timeout. West Virginia and Kansas State. It's a 10-0 lead for the Wildcats. Left tackle Scott France helped off the field. Looks like he's going to be all right. Jesse Ertz and the Kansas State offense. 2nd and 10 from their own 3, leading by 10. Another conservative play. Warmack bounces to the outside, has the first down, and gets it to the 21-yard line. 14-yard run for Dalvin Warmack, the redshirt freshman.
And Warmack's got speed. You'll see it's a zone to the left. Great job with the vision, the cutback right there. And you see the speed out in the open field to get Kansas State off the goal line, and a big pickup right there on 2nd down. Great speed and vision from Dalvin Warmack.
They'll run it again. And then it's Warmack this time back to the line of scrimmage. 2nd down. Boy, Kansas State sure could use those timeouts now. I mean, there's a lot of time on the clock, but ahead of halftime, you probably could come in handy about now.
You always want to have those in your back pocket. You never know what could arise, what situation you're going to be in. Timeouts are a precious commodity that you can't just waste early on in the half, as we've seen Kansas State do. They were out of them by early on in the 2nd quarter here.
See what Ertz does on 2nd and 9. It's a play fake, rolling to his right. He's going to heave it downfield. And what a catch by Burton! Penalty marker down. Ertz took a shot. Huge play into West Virginia territory.
97 of the defense. It's a 15-yard penalty, and it's a first down.
Noble Wachuku, the defensive end, with the hit and the flag.
Little play action pass, roll the pocket, get Ertz out. He wanted to go to Dimmel first, but he sees Burton across the field, throws it up, and his big target goes up and gets it with his hands. Nice pass, better catch by Deontay Burton. And just a bad decision by 97 of West Virginia.
37-yard reception for Burton. First down and 10 from the 26. Warmack again. Last year, Burton was the Big 12's Offensive Player of the Week against West Virginia. He had 135 receiving and a touchdown. That was a huge athletic play to go up and pluck that football.
He's a big target, 6'2", about 210 pounds, showing the athleticism, the ability to jump. But the most impressive thing about that, catching the football with just his hands, bring it to his body for the big gain for Kansas State.
Warmack to the 19-yard line. 3rd down and manageable for Kansas State. Again, they don't have any timeouts. They've been the better team here in the first half.
Kansas State definitely has. Scoreboard reflects that. Been able to hit some shots down the field. Seen Jesse Ertz hasn't completed a high percentage of his passes, but when he has, they have really counted.
3rd down.
3rd and 3. We saw him pass earlier. To me, this is a rundown or an RPO type of situation for Kansas State.
Deep handoff to Jones. And he's got it inside the 15-yard line. First down, Kansas State. Remember last week, he dropped the ball at the goal line after a touchdown, struck a pose. He was benched for the rest of the game by Bill Snyder, but he said it's not going to affect Jones's playing time.
And he's kind of a bruiser. He'll lower his shoulder, he runs behind his pads. You see him fight for the first down right there, and that's what I want to see out of Kansas State. They fight to get in those 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3s. That's what they do. A big pickup there on 3rd down to extend this drive. It started way back on the 2-yard line play.
8th play of the drive. And Jones, he's going to be dropped for a loss of 3, maybe 4. That's Christian Brown, the defensive end out of Fort Myers. Loss of 3 officially, 2nd down. Last year, this matchup was the regular season finale for both teams. This year, it's the conference opener. And Dana Holgerson's team has been unimpressive here on homecoming. It's the team that they were fired up to beat for the first time in conference play. Jones on the left side. Be 3rd and fairly long as Howard makes the stop.
Patience right there by Charles Jones to get back to just past the original line of scrimmage. 3rd and 9. Again, we talked about it. This is what Tony Gibson wanted from his defense. We've seen him elect at times to just play coverage. If I'm Tony Gibson, I'm dialing it up, and I'm going to try and heat up Jesse Ertz and get that ball out of his hand as quickly as possible.
Ertz throws high, incomplete. There were a couple of receivers in that vicinity, Pringle and Heath, and Ertz didn't hit either one of them. And so now the field goal unit will come out again. Matthew McCrane has already hit a 37-yarder. He'll try and make this 16-0 just ahead of half. And Kansas State on the road, settling for 3s. See if that comes back to haunt him later in this football game.
Well, Tony Gibson did just exactly what I expected. Brought a lot of pressure, 6-7 guys on the blitz. Ball's out quick. The incompletion forcing the field goal.
31, it's good. McCrane 2 for 2. You mentioned Jesse Ertz. Not completing a high percentage, but he's been effective managing this offense.
At Jesse Ertz, he is not high percentage is exactly right, but here on a big 3rd and 10, you see they're going to drop 8, 3 high, underneath zone coverage. They find the soft spot right there on the dig. Ertz finds his man. You'll see Dominic Heath coming up the seam right here. And then here the big throw down the field to Burton. Goes up and gets it. Jesse Ertz making plays. Got the Wildcats in great position, up 13-0.
Taco Bell presents the numbers for Jesse Ertz. 6 of 17, 118. A couple of carries and a rushing touchdown.
He's averaging almost 20 yards of completion. I mean, the chunk plays, the ones he's being able to convert on. A big 3rd down he hit on. Big pass coming out to Burton from his own end.
That was an 11-play, 83-yard drive. Their field goal, and it's 13-0. Gibson to the 25. Well, tonight, it's number 3 Louisville and number 5 Clemson. We've been hyping it all week. It's going to be good. Jackson, 25 total touchdowns on the year, the quarterback for the Cardinals. That's more than 123 FBS teams. That's 96% of the country's got more touchdowns.
It's going to be tested tonight like he hasn't all season on the road.
Stepping up is Howard. Just over a minute to go before half. He's going to run it out of bounds with a little help. Elijah Lee, who had that interception in the first half for Kansas State.
Now you think about what North Carolina's doing to Florida State. Do we have to readjust what we saw in Louisville a few weeks back? And Louisville really took it to the Florida State Seminoles, getting beat right now 21-0 on their home field to the Tar Heels.
Say the same thing about the Kansas State loss to Stanford after last night. Everyone was impressed that Kansas State played so well against the Cardinal in week 1, but boy, did Stanford look bad last night and that loss to Washington. That's incomplete. Jordan Willis was all over Howard. 3rd and long for the Mountaineers again.
Clay, this is starting to be a problem right here for West Virginia. Watch these defensive ends off the edge, condensing the pocket. You see Jordan Willis, the spin move right there inside. And just nowhere for Skylar Howard to step up in the pocket and deliver the football. We saw a couple of series ago, good pressure on the quarterback, and here again with West Virginia trying to get something to go before the half.
Howard under pressure again, dropped it off short to Elijah Wellman, who's fullback. A long way from the 35-yard line. They needed to get to move the chains.
No surprise right there. Once again, the defensive line of Kansas State gaming it up front. Tex game. Jordan doing a great job getting pressure on the quarterback, Jordan Willis, really having a productive second quarter, harassing Skylar Howard.
Hey, this Kansas State defense is for real. They've held their first 3 opponents under 300 yards total offense. They're on pace to do that again today. Fair catch called for through 35 by Heath. And again, Kansas State, without any timeouts, 41 seconds to play with here before halftime. The drive chart for West Virginia, unimpressive. Missed field goal to start, and then they turned it over on an interception. Failed to convert on a 4th down at the Kansas State 31, turned it over on downs, then a punt, another punt, and another punt.
And it shows the Kansas State defense has really settled in. You know, West Virginia's first drive moved the football down the field, had the missed field goal. The interception, I don't really count. That was just a good defensive play. But then they moved the ball again. Turn it over on downs. They don't elect to kick the field goal. But then these last 3 series, Kansas State defense locked in and getting exactly what they want. Pressure on the quarterback and stopping the West Virginia rushing attack.
Jones got freed. He's got a first down. Out to midfield, but again, Kansas State can't stop the clock. No timeouts remaining. Stop it briefly to move the sticks.
I would have figured they would have been okay just to take into the half. When you get a game like that on first down, that changes the game plan.
Get into Matthew McGrain field goal territory. Ertz is going to take a deep shot. Incomplete, intended for Pringle. There's some bumping there with Kaiser White. 18 seconds to go.
Kansas State in full control of this football game, up 13-0. Ball at midfield, looking to add to it. And as you mentioned, Clay, West Virginia, we could see it on the coach's face, the players' face. They were ready for this football game. I think especially offensively, to see how good they are, how good that Kansas State defense is. And so far, with the goose egg on the board for West Virginia, the Kansas State defense flexing their muscles, showing why they're the #1 statistical defense in all the country.
Ertz out of the pocket. And he's going to take it to the sideline to stop the clock with 10 ticks left. All right, so what do you do here if you're Dana Dimmel? You got 10 seconds. You got some weapons.
Take a shot down the field. See if you can't find somebody. Either get out of bounds or get down in time to spike it and stop the clock. I mean, I think this is definitely an area where you take a shot, try to get some points, steal some points here before halftime.
Matthew McCrane's career long is 53. So if you can get around the 30, 35-yard line, you're certainly within his field goal range. Ertz can't stop the clock. Dump it off, incomplete. That's going to be intentionally grounded.
Yeah.
Intentional grounding by the quarterback, number 16. It's a 10-second runoff. That's the end of the half.
Matthew McCrane will not get a field goal attempt. The half comes to an end. Doesn't end nicely for Kansas State on that series, but it was a good series overall. They lead it on the road 13-0. We now go to the studio for the halftime report with Brendan.
Clay, thank you very much. When was the last time West Virginia was shut out in the first half? That would be 2000.
West Virginia thinking this is the year they finally beat Kansas State. Well, it still might be the case, but they've got to come back. They're down 13-0 at the half. First half highlights. Started pretty good for the Mountaineers. Big play here. Skylar Howard to Shelton Gibson. 46 yards down the sideline. Set up a field goal attempt, but Josh Lambert missed it from 30. How about that #1 ranked defense for Kansas State? Elijah Lee, he had a big first half, Dusty.
Big turnover. Jesse Ertz took over. Big pass down the field to Dominique Heath. He finishes it off. Little zone read scamper into the end zone for the only touchdown of the game. Then the Kansas State pass rush came alive. Jordan Willis with a big spin move and a sack. And from the other side, pressure the entire second quarter on Skylar Howard. This Kansas State defense as good as advertised. 1 of 6. They've held West Virginia on third down, taking away their rushing attack and really making it difficult on Skylar Howard to stand in there in the pocket and deliver the football down the field.
Last time West Virginia was shut out at home, got to go all the way back to 2005. That could happen here today. But this is a West Virginia offense that's ranked number 13 in the country in total offense. If they get on track, things could change in a hurry, and they start with the football here in the second half.
And they moved the ball some in the first half, right? I mean, 3 different times they were in Kansas State territory, but no points to account for. When they move the football, they got to take advantage of those opportunities to get points on the board here in the second half.
And Skylar Howard will start at the 25 with that Mountaineers offense. There's a penalty marker down.
The result of the play was a touchback. There is no foul on the play.
533 yards of total offense on average so far for West Virginia, but today 174 in that first half, and the balance that we've grown to see over the first 3 weeks from West Virginia just hasn't been there today because they haven't been able to get any traction on offense.
They haven't been able to run the football and getting after Skylar Howard, rushing the passer, and how about that number? Scoring, averaging 33 points a game and a goose egg. The West Virginia Mountaineer offense there in the first half. We wanted to see this matchup, the Kansas State defense against the West Virginia offense for one half. Kansas State won that matchup.
Howard will throw on first down. He is complete to Gibson. And that catch is his second reception. DJ Reed making the tackle. It's a pickup of 6. If they can get it to him more, that would certainly help the cause for the Mountaineers.
Got going early on with that big catch. Problem's been protecting Skylar Howard. Quick game coming out of the half.
Going to take another deep shot, this time down the right sideline in the sunshine. Karan White tried to make a play on an underthrown ball. The nickelback, Donnie Starks, nearly picked it off.
In great position. Right there, running stride for stride with the receiver. He stays right there in front of him in perfect position to intercept that pass. Great coverage down the field by the nickelback, Donnie Starks.
Starks in his second year as the starter at nickel. All right, keep an eye on number 75, Jordan Willis, the defensive end. He has been absolutely dominant, especially in situations like this. Third down at 4. Howard, time to throw over the middle, complete to the 50. And into Kansas State territory is Da'Keil Shorts. Again, he is the guy they go to in tough spots when they need to move the chains.
Good route runner, strong hands. And you see Skylar Howard find his target middle of the field for a big first down coming out of the second half.
Only their second third down conversion today for the Mountaineers. Quickly to Gary Jennings. And now they're inside the 30. Second down and short after that 9-yard reception. They keep it on the ground this time. Russell Shell. First down.
Now they're getting some flow, going fast, getting Kansas State's defense on their heels, throwing it on first down, running it on second down right there with Russell Shell.
I think Dana Holgerson had some Red Bulls at halftime. He was fired up. Ooh, Howard slips down. There was Jordan Willis applying the pressure. And whether he was touched or not, Howard lost his footing and down he goes.
Blitz coming right there. Elijah Lee coming on the blitz. And you see Jordan Willis right here coming off the edge. Elijah Lee up at the line of scrimmage. They're bringing pressure. And just a chop rip right there by Jordan Willis turning the corner. Skylar Howard losing his footing when he's under duress.
Willis voted a team captain. Bill Snyder says he's very conscientious, wants to be perfect. It's been pretty close to perfect today. There goes Gibson in motion. They'll give it to Shell on the run. Be third down and long coming up here for West Virginia. There's Colton McKivitz into the ball game here, getting a lot of playing time on the outside for that West Virginia offensive line. Redshirt freshman. Penalty flags down. That's Wellman on the catch, the fullback. This might be holding. Couple of flags down. Cooper Castleberry, the referee today.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Holding by number 70 of the offense. Roughing, personal foul roughing the passer by number 71 of the defense. The penalty's offset. Replay third down.
Holding right there by the left guard, Tony Mateo. We've now seen Reggie Walker coming on third downs. Really do a nice job as he came inside a game right there with him in the defensive end. And then Jordan Willis comes a little late. Just a little shove, enough to get the flag.
You never did that. You were always stopping at the whistle.
No question, absolutely. By the rule book, Clay. That's the way I always play.
3rd and 14. Look at that late inside handoff to Shell. But Kansas State was ready for it. Elijah Lee makes another tackle. It's a gain of 12. But they're short of the first down. Now we'll see what Dana Holgorsen goes to decide to do. And they're going to stay out there with the offensive unit. 4th down and 2 coming up.
There's a big down right here. I like the play call right there on a draw. If it's 2 down territory, Russell Shell makes a guy miss. Big yardage, set up a 4th and 2. Big play right here for the West Virginia offense.
Ooh, movement on that left side. And Panky jumped. Oh, this is demoralizing.
A false start by number 57 of the offense. It's a 5-yard penalty, and it's still 4th down.
Now 4th and 7.
Changes the game a little bit. Clearly, Dana Holgorsen not going to be as aggressive going for it when it's 4th and 7 as opposed to 4th and 2. And Adam Panky, you know, I think he's their best offensive lineman. He's moved from left guard to left tackle this season. And a veteran guy making his 27th start today can't do that in a moment coming out of the half. They needed to gain momentum on a big 4th and 2.
Lambert has missed from 30 already today. This from 37. He snuck that one in the right upright. And West Virginia is on the board. Kind of sloppy at the end, but they do get 3 points. Celebrating its 12th year sponsoring the Good Hands Field Goal Nets, Allstate makes contributions to participating universities' general scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kicked. To date, Allstate has donated millions of dollars in scholarship money. 37-yard field goal by Josh Lambert, and West Virginia's on the scoreboard for the first time. It's 13-3 with 11:24 to go here in the third quarter. Alongside former Oklahoma Sooner Dusty Dvorak, I'm Clay Matvick. Mike Molina will kick off here for West Virginia. That was the 4th drive into Kansas State territory for the Mountaineers. They finally get points. Byron Pringle brings it out of the end zone, finds a seam, gets to the sideline, 1 man to beat. And he's shoved out of bounds deep into West Virginia territory.
And this is exactly what Dana Holgorsen talked to us about yesterday. Special teams, Kansas State, known for how great they are at special teams. Last 2 years, big returns have cost the Mountaineers, and Here after gaining some momentum back, going down, getting points on the board out of the half. Kansas State fires back with a big kick return to set themselves up on the West Virginia 31.
It was a 69-yard return, and now Ertz comes back out with these numbers for the Kansas State offense. The stiffest test since an opening loss at number 8 Stanford. Ready to set up at the 31. A little delay here.
The previous play is under further review.
Maybe he stepped out further back, perhaps?
Have to be checking exactly where Pringle's feet were as he toes the sidelines.
Well, last year, as you alluded to, Dusty, a 97-yard kickoff return touchdown in the fourth quarter by Kansas State senior Morgan Burns was the difference in this matchup. The year before, it was a Tyler Lockett punt return touchdown. And a big special teams play here by Pringle, but it's under review right now.
A chance to take a look at it.
After further review, the runner stepped out of bounds at the 42-yard line.
Okay.
First down.
I was going to say he was trying to tiptoe the sidelines, but it looked like he might have stepped out earlier than what we had originally thought when they marked him.
Right there.
Yeah, right there at the 42. Job by the officials getting it right. About an 11-yard difference right there.
It's an 11-yard backup. Ertz kept it himself inside the 40. Down to the 37.
Well, Jesse Ertz hasn't been the most efficient today, but he's found his spots and he's taken some shots. As we'll see him right here, stand in the pocket, find Dominic Heath up to seam. He can get it done with his legs on the zone read. And you see him rolling outside the pocket, finding Burton down the field. That's really all Jesse Ertz has had via the passing game. Shots down the football field, but doing just enough to have the Wildcats in good position here early on in the second half.
Their first series of the half, second down and 5. Play clock again winding down. Kansas State doesn't want to be forced to use a timeout. Boy, that plagued them in the first half, and it's carried over here to the second half.
It's a mistake they've got to get fixed, Clay. Inexcusable to burn timeouts like that early on in the second half. 13-3, K-State over West Virginia early in the third.
Clay Matvick, Dusty Dvorak back here in Morgantown. 13-3, Kansas State leading. But we've seen some interesting situations where Kansas State has had to use timeouts to avoid a penalty ahead of the play clock expiring. This is not like Kansas State. They're usually so buttoned up.
They are. They don't make mistakes. They don't put themselves in situations like this. Burning timeouts. We saw it in the first half. We're seeing it again here in the second half. You got to get the play in quicker. You got to look over the sidelines, make their check, and get up on the football with plenty of time to snap the ball. This is very un-Bill Snyder-like from one of his offenses.
Right. We saw it happen in the first half where they were out of timeouts late in the half because they'd expired them all just to avoid penalties. And now here already forced to use a timeout to avoid a play clock delay a game. Second down and 5 out of the timeout. Jones in the backfield with Ertz. Fakes the pitch, keeps it first down. Inside the 20, down to the 17-yard line. Let's go to Brendan for an in-studio update.
Studio update in the ACC. North Carolina up 21-7, but this is DeAndre Francois to Jacques Patrick, who fumbles it forward, recovers it. It's a 7-point game in the third quarter. Play back to you.
Well, Florida State avoiding a mistake. They capitalize on their own error. How's that happen? But Seminoles coming back. Big conversion there by Ertz to move the chains. A couple more yards here as Kansas State is back in the red zone.
We saw on that last play, Ertz on the option. He fakes the pitch, the athleticism he has as a quarterback. And as you mentioned, Clay, here in the red zone where Kansas State is as good as anybody in the country once they get down in this territory. This is their kind of football. The playbook's wide open. The field shrinks. Sets up very well for the way Kansas State likes to operate.
And they've been getting touchdowns. They haven't settled for field goals much. He's been a bit of an exception. Play clock again, down to 2. Got it off. Pressure off the edge. Ertz to the end zone. Pringle should have had it and lost it.
Really good ball right there by Jesse Ertz. Fade route to Pringle. Puts it right on the money, and Pringle drops the pass. He's got to reward his quarterback and his team and catch that football. That's 6 right there, Clay.
Would have been the second receiving touchdown this year for Pringle, but it doesn't happen. Kansas State 3 of 9 today on 3rd down. West Virginia blitzes. They get rid of it quickly. And that's a 1st down for Dominic Heath. 1st down, goal to go, Kansas State.
Well, West Virginia bringing the blitz, and he finds his go-to target on 3rd down. Dominic Heath out of the slot. Beats one-on-one coverage just enough to extend the drive. Another Kansas State 1st down.
Kansas State, they have depth but little experience at wide receiver. They really like the sophomore Heath. I think he's going to be a great one in the future. Ertz off his back foot, got it to Dimmel. A pickup of 3, 2nd down and goal to go. Pretty good open field tackle there by Rasul Douglas.
Very good open tackle right there by Douglas. A little play fake. Hit Dimmel out of the backfield. And as you mentioned, he doesn't make that tackle. He's getting in for 6, but a very physical tackle by Rasul Douglas.
Tony Gibson hoping his defense can stand here. Jones, he's going to take the Wildcat snap. Dimmel also in the backfield. Behind Dimmel's block, it is Jones churning toward the goal line. He's going to get a 1.5 yards. 3rd down, goal to go.
They love the Wildcat with Jones, with Dimmel. You see the hesitation, waiting for the blocks. A nice job right there by the West Virginia Mountaineer defense. A lot of bodies in there.
All right, so what do they do here? Dimmel has been the goal line battering ram.
This is Kansas State football. Run, play fake, giving Ertz some type of run-pass option. I think power football right here from the Wildcats.
Play clock inside of 5. Ertz fakes the pitch, now does. Jones scoops it off the turf, and it's a tsunami of gold jerseys. A loss of 3, 4th down.
Hey, and West Virginia's good with that. They want Kansas State to go out on the perimeter. That's what we talked with Tony Gibson. He wants to plug the inside, make them get to the perimeter. See, Jesse Ertz gets hit as he pitches the football. And West Virginia all over that one to force another Kansas State field goal attempt. You know, West Virginia's been very good today defensively inside the red zone, an area that we talked about. Kansas State as good as anybody in the country coming into today.
McCrane, his 22-yard attempt. Got it. 3rd field goal make for Matthew McCrane. It's now 16-3 in Morgantown. Back here in Morgantown, Clay Matvick, Dusty Dvorak. We're going to get in front of a TV as soon as we possibly can for Louisville and Clemson tonight. ABC kicks off 8 Eastern time. Louisville offensively, #1 in the country in almost everything. Real challenge for that defense of Clemson.
Brent Venables got these guys humming. They lose guys to the NFL every year, but it's next man up. Christian Wilkins, one of the best interior defensive linemen in the country. Watch out for the true freshman, Dexter Lawrence. That defensive line has got to play a big role in that game to slow down Lamar Jackson. We're all talking Lamar Jackson, Clay. Deshaun Watson's got a thing or two to say about that here tonight, I imagine.
That's a penalty flag. Can't kick it out of bounds. I know you like line play as a former
A
lineman.
free kick out of bounds by the kicking team. By rule, the ball will be placed at the 35-yard line. First down.
Time now for America's new favorite television show, Dusty's Dudes. And let's look at that inside play.
You want to be a good team, you got to have dudes up front. Jordan Willis, one of those guys. You see the spin move back inside for the sack of Skylar Howard. Watch him right here at speed to power. Gets off the ball great. Then he used the inside arm as a long arm. Leveraged the offensive tackle off of him. And here's a little game inside. Tackle up the field. The defensive end comes underneath. Jordan Willis continues to make his presence known.
Justin Crawford runs around that defense for a good run. That first wave came, and the slippery Crawford got away for a 10-yard pickup and a first down.
He's quick, isn't he?
Yeah.
Quick, sees the hole, hits it, downhill right now.
Junior out of Columbus, Georgia. West Virginia down 13 again. That's Crawford one more time. We'll get 4. Will Geary, built like a love seat, short and squat. Seems to always be in the right position. He made that last tackle.
Outstanding nose tackle, always in his gap, splits double teams. Key cog in that middle of that Wildcat defense.
There's Howard setting, hopping, dances out of the pocket, drops it off into the hands of Durant. He's got a first down. Here goes West Virginia again, moving to the line with tempo.
Good job right there, Skylar Howard manipulating the pocket, allowing his receiver an opportunity to get open. He beats coverage on the linebacker Elijah Lee. Howard finds him. Big gain there for the first down.
Trips to the near side for West Virginia, but they're going to run it with Crawford. And he finds some real estate inside the 25-yard line. Willis comes from his defensive end spot to track him down, but another nice run of 16 yards for Justin.
You know, this rushing attack starting to find its way. Karan wide out there, sealing off the edge, allowing Crawford for a big gain.
Wow, this is Dana Holgerson's offense. Can you believe it, folks? Running the football, a child of the air raid. Crawford again on the ground.
Picking up the tempo and the pace. Got their foot mashed to the ground. Dana Holgerson understands now the importance of being able to run the football.
Twin receivers to either side. Howard steps out of trouble, and he's going to throw it away. Is it a sign of maturity for Dana Holgerson now that where he's at in his head coaching career, he knows what he's got to do? He's not going to stick to what he used to do. He realizes he has to evolve.
That's exactly right. You know, coming out of the Mike Leach air raid system, they're all about throwing the football. And talking to Dana yesterday, he recognized and understood when he came to the Big 12. So many teams do this, throw it all over the yard. Had to be able to run the football.
Well, unfortunately for Kansas State, Jordan Willis is down for the second time today, Dusty.
You hate to see that. The leader of the front here for Kansas State. He's working on a pass rush. Lands bad. Teammate Moore lands on that ankle. But Jordan Willis up, jogging off the field. A good sign.
Well, it obviously looked worse than it was, right, because he's putting pretty good pressure on his lower extremities getting to the sideline. 6'5", 258, the senior from Kansas City. Great frame on that young man.
He's got next level aspirations when I watch him on the tape. That's a guy that I expect to get his opportunity on Sundays.
Also shell in the backfield with Howard on 3rd down and 6. Need the 14-yard line. Can't get it. Went to Durant. And so now it's 4th down. We'll see if Holgerson marches out the field goal unit or keeps the offense out there. He's going to do the latter.
Kansas State brought pressure right there. Nice job by the West Virginia offensive line. Give him a clean pocket. Skylar Howard misfires on the slant.
Kansas State's D trying to take over on downs for the second time. No, they convert. Durant the catch inside the 5, first down. Goal to go for the Mountaineers.
Like the exact same thing we saw on 3rd down. Kansas State brings the blitz. They go right back to the exact same play. This time, Skylar Howard on time and on target to Durant for the first down.
Gain of 17 yards for Durant. of the many underclassmen on this team. Howard to the end zone. High throw, incomplete. It sails over the head of Shorts. Here's that big fourth down conversion moments ago.
They brought the blitz. Looks to one side. He's got Durant right there on the slant. He beats the nickel back. Donnie Starks in coverage. And a nice pass right there from Skylar Howard.
West Virginia has been behind for the entire ball game, trying to remain undefeated. Baylor, the only other undefeated team in the Big 12 at this point after a win today at Iowa State. 10th play of the series. On the ground, Shell. Ball comes out. Kansas State recovers. Kendall Adams has it. And that Kansas State defense does it again.
Wow, Kansas State just coming up with a big play. Reggie Walker, the backup defensive end that continues to make plays. We've seen him in the pass rush game all day long. Right there, gets a hand on the football, squirts out, and Kansas State forces their second turnover of the day. And that one, a huge turnover with West Virginia going in for 6. Now it's Kansas State's ball.
Yesterday, Coach Snyder told you and I, open field tackling and takeaways are going to be the biggest keys for my team to come out of Morgantown with a win. We've seen them be excellent in both of those categories so far. Running play for Warmack. 9th takeaway on the year for the Kansas State defense.
That's what they do, though. This is what Kansas State does. They typically, more years than not, they don't have a lot of penalties, and they win the turnover margin time in, time out. It's a recipe for success for Bill Snyder.
Snyder ball, right?
Snyder ball, man, at its finest.
It's Jones, and he's a couple yards short. I'll tell you what, this Wisconsin Badgers team, they're for real. Let's get an update with Brendan.
Yeah, Clay, as many expected, an old-fashioned Big Ten slugfest at the Big House. Wisconsin getting on the board here. Alex Hornibrook finds Dari Ogunbowale. That touchdown locks these two up at 7 over on ABC. Back to you.
All right, Brendan, thank you very much. Back here in Morgantown, Kansas State taking over after a red zone turnover by West Virginia. Leading by 13 late in the third quarter. Ertz kept it. He's got the first down and more. He hasn't run a ton today, but when he has, he's been effective.
He has. He's got athleticism. He's quick to get to the perimeter. Zone read here. Right there. He decides he's going to keep it. Gets to the edge. Good blocking outside by the Kansas State wideouts. And a huge first down for Kansas State following the big turnover. They're on the goal line.
7 carries, 30 yards, and a touchdown on top of what he's done passing. The team's leading rusher coming in to week 4.
Quarterback run game, always a big part of what Kansas State likes to do offensively.
Just ahead of the play clock expiring again. Ertz taking a deep shot. And that's well out of the reach of Burton. Incomplete. Tonight, after our big Pac-12 game between Arizona and UCLA, don't miss Sports Center at night. Lisa Kearney, John Butcher-Gross. They'll have all the highlights from college football. Baseball's playoff races. Day 2 at the Ryder Cup. And everything else. Sports Center at night after Arizona, UCLA in the Pac-12. Cards won. The Mets won. In Major League Baseball. Mets are headed to the postseason. It's on 2nd and 10. Man open. There's Dominique Heath. Incomplete. Well, Ertz put it where he needed to.
Yes, he did. Right there on the sidelines. Great play right there by the defender to jostle that ball loose.
That's Kaiser White.
Jesse Ertz gets hit hard right there by the defensive lineman, Christian Brown. Brings up 3rd and long, where Tony Gibson wanted to be all day.
Does he bring a blitz?
I'd say yes. He's bringing pressure.
And he backed off the heat. Comes late. Ertz in trouble. Down he goes. It was a slow starting pass rush, but Adam Schuler and Noble Wachuku got it done. That is the second sack of Ertz today for the Mountaineers.
Xavier Preston, they walked him up on the edge. Kind of cheated like he was going to come, backs off like he's not going to come. Ultimately brings the pressure, flushes Jesse Ertz. They get the sack that they need to get off the field.
Fourth punt for Walsh. Gary Jennings back. He's going to play it. Going the wrong direction, and he is spun down near the 25-yard line. A 45-yard punt for Walsh. No return for West Virginia.
Well, Xavier Preston, we talked about it. They bring him on the blitz. He backs off. Now he's coming. Comes right off the edge. Forces Ertz to step up. The rest of the West Virginia defense there for a big stop.
Well, miscues for West Virginia, the story of this ballgame.
Missed field goal right there to start the game. A turnover there that leads to 7 for Kansas State. And then here, the fumble inside the 5. You feel like you want to get 6, but you're at least getting 3 points left out there on the field from miscues by West Virginia here this afternoon.
With that said, the Mountaineers only down 13 points, and they've got a potent offense. There's Howard going deep to Gibson again. He made the catch! What a play! DJ Reed dehorned him, but somehow he held onto the football.
Wow, we heard Dana Holgerson tell us yesterday, Shelton Gibson as good as anybody he's seen at tracking the football over his shoulder. He can speed up, he can slow down. You see him go up and get that football, adjust to it, while the defender, Reed, rips off his helmet. What a play right there by Shelton Gibson. A huge play that this West Virginia offense needed to get some life back into this team.
Wow. Without a doubt, a Sports Center top 10 nominee. Wow. 52 yards. There's some life in this crowd now. Ground game football here. Crawford spins inside the 20 and down at the 15.
Refuses to go down. Initial contact doesn't get, a little spin. He keeps the legs turning. Picks up a couple extra there on a nice gain on first down.
Again, it's Crawford. Joe Wickline, former offensive coordinator at Texas. He's the offensive coordinator here, but Dana Holgerson still calls the plays. 40 seconds to go here in the third. A 3rd and 5 coming up for the Mountaineers.
The big third down here for West Virginia. Watching Kansas State on film, not a big down where they like to blitz, though we've seen here today on 3rd down they have brought some pressure. They try to heat up Skylar Howard. Watch out for a security blanket right here as they've got him in motion to kill shorts. Guy Skylar Howard loves to go to in these type of spots.
It's Crawford in the flat, off his hands. He quickly covers up just in case. It's incomplete. Stops the clock with 9 seconds to go here in the third quarter. And it's 4th down and 5. Dana Holgerson has gone for it a few times here on 4th down.
It's go time. It's go time. Dana Holgerson, he's going to roll the dice. Looks like. Trust Skylar Howard and his offense. Paid off for him the previous possession before the turnover. They converted a big 4th and 7 to Javon Durant.
Boy, West Virginia, 51% on 3rd down coming into the game. Just 2 3rd down conversions today. Play clock at 3. They better hurry up. We're going to have to use a timeout.
West Virginia calls for the first timeout of the half.
Each team with a couple remaining here the rest of the way. We just saw a great catch from Shelton Gibson, the star receiver for West Virginia. Speaking of great catches, let's take a look at our AT&T Inside Access. Check out this Shelton Gibson catch. Man, that was one-handed. But how about the freshman wide receiver Drew Bowen, maybe with even a better one. That one went viral on YouTube.
Just put on the #1 jersey and you'll make acrobatic catches.
I guess so.
We could throw Clay at a #1.
No.
And he'd get it done.
Let's not get carried away.
You're selling yourself short, Clay.
All right, let's
wow, look at this.
Look at this play again by Gibson that sets up West Virginia deep in Kansas State territory. He's fired up, but they've got to come away with points for sure. They desperately need 6.
Huge play right here, 4th and 5. Dana Holgerson took the timeout, going to get exactly what he wants coming out of the timeout.
Howard looking to the right, the slant, and it's going to be very close. Yes, first down, West Virginia. It was Karan White on the catch. And that is likely the last play of the third quarter. Well, West Virginia has some momentum now headed to the 4th.
Kansas State right there selling on the blitz. He finds his target, Karan White on the slant. Moving the sticks. Allowing West Virginia the chance to start the 4th in a good spot. Big kick return there from Kansas State. Ertz, the nice run, and a fumble by Rochelle Shell. We got a fun 4th quarter up ahead here in Morgantown.
Dana Holgerson's team has 360 yards of total offense today, but just 3 points. Penalties, turnovers, ineffectiveness inside the red zone, the Achilles heel. But now here they are again in the red zone, Dusty. First down goal to go from the 10.
Got to cash in for points here. 3's not going to do it. They're looking for 6 to start this 4th.
That's Crawford. Good run. Still on his feet. Pyle moving toward the end zone. He may have gotten in. No signal yet from the officials. They are going to mark him outside of the end zone.
The ruling on the field, his forward progress was stopped at the half-yard line.
At the half-yard line.
Boy, Justin Crawford picking his way right there. Finds a little crease off the right side. And then the lineman, the whole team, driving, churning, trying to get in that end zone.
How was his forward progress stopped, Dusty? It looked like he was going the whole time.
It looks like he's laying in the end zone. Referees see it different. They hurry to the line.
Howard on the keeper. His knee went down. But they're going to call it a touchdown for West Virginia. Their first of the day.
The ruling on the field is a touchdown. The previous play is under further review.
He's not going to be in Clay. Off the snap, he takes the snap and takes a knee right there on the 1-yard line. I'm going to be surprised if this isn't overturned. Take a look right there. Skylar Howard takes a knee right there, right off the snap. See right here. Skylar Howard's knee.
You're right.
Goes down. I was watching it live and I saw it happen. Well, surely he didn't take a knee right there.
In fact, that's a loss of a half-yard.
Yeah.
We've talked about the ineffectiveness in the red zone, the miscues today. There's another example of West Virginia hurting themselves.
Yeah.
They're 1 for 4 in the red zone today. Yeah, like Dusty said, it'd be a shock if this isn't overturned. Ruled a touchdown on the field. It has to be indisputable video evidence to overturn it. David Dumas is the replay official today.
Well, it doesn't get more indisputable than that, Clay. I mean, appears to me clear video evidence. His knee's on the ground before he even makes a move.
After further review, the quarterback's knee was on the ground with the ball at the 1-yard line. It's third down.
You were right, partner.
Well, I can promise you there will be many a time when that won't be the case, but on that one, yeah, it looked pretty clear to me. Skylar Howard takes the snap and goes right to a knee. I don't know if it didn't look like he lost his footing. But
no.
Clearly another one of the West Virginia miscues, setting up for a 3rd and goal.
8th play of the drive, 3rd down, goal to go. Crawford, wide open touchdown. Nobody in his way. And that one probably going to stand.
No knee touching on the ground. Love the play design. They all get up close to the line of scrimmage like they're just going to quarterback sneak it like they did the previous play. Howard turns around. Justin Crawford having a nice afternoon here today. Walks into the end zone for the first Mountaineer touchdown of the day.
Mike Molina is going to attempt the extra point. West Virginia, even though they've struggled all day, in all facets of the game, only down 6.
Right in the thick of things, hand off to Crawford, no one's there, touchdown, Mountaineers. And Newton, Eli Manning, offensive line is shaky. He better watch himself. Boy, how about the life in this place now, partner? Man.
It has come alive. Strike the field day here at Milan Puskar Stadium. It's a squib kick. Pringle just short of the 30. Let's take a look back at that last drive for West Virginia. Drive recap presented by Buick. 8 plays, 73 yards, and a touchdown.
Boy, how about this catch right here by Shelton Gibson? A big 4th and 5. Karan White on the slant, just enough for the first down, setting up this Justin Crawford walk-in to make this a one-score game here in Morgantown. And a drive like that, Clay, it can invigorate a crowd, a defense. Momentum has shifted now to the West Virginia Mountaineers.
Yeah, we were talking about that Minnesota Vikings defense. West Virginia's defense, they should be inspired now.
Yeah, still looking for that first takeaway of the day.
Timeout. Wow. Kansas State has 1 timeout remaining, and there's over 13 and a half minutes to play.
Been a problem all day for the Wildcats.
Yowzer. The Wildcats took their first time out of the half at the 10:27 mark of the 3rd quarter because of this very situation, trying to avoid a penalty on the play clock. Something tells me if you brought the wrong color to the ballpark today, you had the right color in your trunk anyhow. And everyone is color-coded in the right section for Strike the Field here at Milan Puskar. This is a terrific atmosphere here today on this homecoming weekend.
What a great scene in Morgantown. Got a great ball game here in the 4th quarter of a one-score game. And this crowd, they have come alive to help aid this West Virginia Mountaineer defense.
West Virginia has been chasing Kansas State since the 1st quarter. Ertz keeps it. Stiff arm. Nothing doing. David Long has had a very nice first game at linebacker for West Virginia.
Nose for the football is what Tony Gibson said about David Long, who he felt encouraged, couldn't wait to let him start for his first time. Nice job right there, setting the edge, bringing down Jesse Ertz for no gain on first down.
Gibson has done such a nice job with this defensive unit. You consider the injuries, the guys he lost to the draft. There's a penalty flag. Too many men.
Illegal substitution by number 6 of the offense. It's a 5-yard penalty, and it's still 2nd down.
Bill Snyder not going to be happy about this. The second illegal substitution, countless timeouts they've had to take. They become their own worst enemy pre-snap here this afternoon. Burton couldn't get off the field in time.
First penalty of the second half against Kansas State, their fourth today. Second and 15 now. Ertz setting in the pocket. Moves to his left. In trouble. Got rid of it down the sideline. Incomplete. Isaiah Zuber, the intended receiver, but now a 3rd and 15 facing Kansas State.
This is not a down and distance they want to be in. Kind of feels like West Virginia's defense smells blood in the water. Tony Gibson, such an aggressive play caller. Got to imagine he's going to bring some heat, play man outside, get that ball out of Jesse Ertz's hand.
Charles Jones in the backfield, 3 receivers for Jesse Ertz. And Zuber in motion. Plenty of time. Caught, and that is going to be very close to a first down for Zuber. The redshirt freshman out of Georgia, yes, it will move the chains.
No pressure, they just rushed 4 right there. Jesse Ertz stands in the pocket. He finds his target, Zuber, for a huge first down. A little exhale for Kansas State. Momentarily silenced this West Virginia crowd.
After the 16-yard pickup to keep the drive alive, it's Warmack. Oh, he takes a hard hit. At the 44-yard line, Jeremy Tyler, Al-Rashid Benton, the veteran linebacker, also in on the stop. Let's get an update. Georgia, Tennessee, Brendan.
Clay in Athens between the hedges. Tennessee trying to do the comeback thing once again, down 24-14. But here's Josh Dobbs to Alvin Kamara, 16 yards as he stays in bounds. It's 24-21 in the fourth quarter.
Let's see if Georgia can hang on there. Motion. Penalty flags everywhere.
A false start by number 56 of the offense. It's a 5-yard penalty, and it's still second down.
Terrell Johnson, a senior from Manhattan, Kansas.
You got to give that up to this crowd right here. Making it loud, making it noisy, can't communicate. He can't hear his quarterback. The crowd playing a big factor here in the fourth quarter.
It's been sold out since Wednesday. They brought their pipes. Winston Dimmel in the backfield. 2nd and 11. Ertz threw behind his receiver. That was ugly. Intended for Heath. So now 3rd and 11.
And that's on Jesse Ertz. He's got Dominic Heath wide open. Throws it behind him. Misses his target. Sets up a 3rd and long. One of those RPOs, the run-pass option. Ertz waited. Found Heath, but misfired. Throwing behind his target.
They need the midfield line to keep this drive going. They rush 4. Ertz has time. Goes deep. Into coverage. And it looks like it's picked off. Yes, it is. Intercepted by Rasul Douglas.
The ruling on the field is an interception.
Douglas had a pick 6 last week. In the win over BYU, we're going to see if this holds up. It looks like it's a takeaway for West Virginia.
We just talked about West Virginia needed a takeaway in this football game. And you'll see right here, Rasul Douglas go up and just take the football away. That is an interception. Fought for it right there with Pringle. And he comes down with the football. Big time play by the West Virginia Mountaineer defense. You talked about that offensive drive, what it can do. Some momentum, and then the defense responds with a big takeaway.
Boy, West Virginia needs to take advantage with 10:45 to go. The play action, hopping, rolling to the outside. Howard, incomplete. This offense, too many times, Dusty, has been its own worst enemy. It's getting to that point in the game. It's long in the tooth now. West Virginia has to do something here.
They've moved the ball very well here in the second half. They had to fumble inside the 5. They came with a touchdown. Got to get a drive going here off the turnover.
Durant, the 35, starts with the tackle, so 3rd down and about 6.
Durant's been a nice little target for him in the intermediate game. A little hitch right there, quick game. Ball's out quick, the pass rush can't get there. 3rd and manageable, 3rd and medium here for the West Virginia offense.
Look at West Virginia on 3rd down today. Very uncharacteristic. 51% coming in.
Haven't seen this guy much today. Jordan Willis here in the second half.
Willis on the stunt, chasing Howard. Howard got rid of it, dropped by Shell. Boy, it has been an awful day for Russell Shell.
Yeah, they're setting up the screen right there. You saw Jordan Willis on a game coming inside. Right here, getting up, going under. A little text game right there. The tackle goes up underneath by Jordan Willis. They're trying to set the screen up to the other side. Howard actually throws it with his left. But Russell Shell unable to come away with that football.
Wasted opportunity for the Mountaineers. Heath and Pringle both back to return this punt. Short kick, hits at the 31 and rolls out of bounds inside the 30-yard line. Kansas State has won 5 of the 6 all-time meetings, including the last 4. Colin Klein, a big day in 2012. And Kansas State with 4 unanswered touchdowns in the second half for the win in 13. Told you about Tyler Lockett, his punt return touchdown for a score in 14. And last year, Morgan Burns, that 97-yard kick return for the game-winning touchdown. So the last 2 years decided by a touchdown or less. It's a touchdown difference here, Dusty. What's going to decide this game down the stretch?
I think who can run the football, take some pressure off the quarterback. We know Kansas State wants to run the football. Can they do it here in crunch time to ice away this game in the 4th quarter? That 3-and-out by West Virginia was 3 passes. We saw the previous touchdown drive. Mix and match. They were running it, they were throwing it, getting Crawford involved. I'd like to see West Virginia get back to running the football when they get the ball back. Keep that balance we talked about that they've had all season long.
Real depressing 3-and-out for West Virginia, but there's still a lot of time. Kansas State going back to work. Ertz taking a shot. Incomplete. It's intended for Deontay Burton.
I just talked about whoever runs the football, and they come out and they throw a deep ball on 1st down. I know he's hit a couple of shots down the field, but boy, when you got a lead in the 4th quarter, you think of the way this offense is constructed and what Kansas State likes to do. Very uncharacteristic 1st down call right there by Dana Dimel.
And Ertz hasn't exactly been on the money today. 9 of 28. 147, and he's thrown a pick. Ertz in trouble, and he is going to be sacked. Kaiser White, the youngest of the 3 White brothers. And that's the 3rd sack of Ertz today. Big loss.
Well, if there's one thing I can do to describe Tony Gibson, this defense, it's aggressive. Look at all the Mountaineer hats right there inside the box. And it's Kaiser White. I would say the best defender, great athlete, making the big play right there to force a 3rd and long situation for Kansas State.
Kaiser White got here in June after the transfer from JUCO. Boy, he has fit in quickly here in Morgantown. 3rd and long, Ertz going to try and run for it. Wrapped up at the 25 and pulled down. Nana Kyrum with the play, and Kansas State will bring out the punting unit, the third 3 and out for the Wildcats today.
Conservative play call on third and super long. It's a quarterback lead draw. They take the air out of the football. The last possession we saw Ertz with a pick. They're going to play field position here and settle for a punt.
Walsh from the 15-yard line booms it. Gary Jennings lets it land. It's a nice bounce back the other way for West Virginia. They've got good field position here with 8:18 to go. Just a 32-yard punt for Walsh. Clay Matvick, Dusty Dvorak back here in Morgantown. 16-10 Kansas State leading the Mountaineers. The West Virginia offense in the first half for Dana Holgorsen, 174 yards, no points. In a little over a quarter since halftime, 200 yards, 10 points. What's been the biggest difference?
They've picked it up. I think they've run the football better, been more efficient offensively. In the second half, clearly wish they could get that turnover back they had inside the 5.
Best starting field position for the Mountaineers today. Crawford will carry for a yard. That's his 15th carry. He's got 78 yards on the ground. Dante Barnett made the stop. West Virginia has trailed the entire game, but they're down only 6 as we go under 8 minutes to play.
Boy, Dante Barnett, who will come downhill, he will hit you, provide such a nice presence, an extra hat in the run game for Kansas State.
You said it before, he's their quarterback back there. Howard gives it to Crawford, look out, first down. And out at the 35-yard line.
Said the team that can run the football better down the stretch is going to come away with this game. Coming off the right side, right here, little zone. Nice job by the center. Orlowski opened up the hole. And Justin Crawford once again hitting it downhill for the big game on second down.
Just weeks ago, he was serving up gorditas. Now a big part of this drive. They target him here as a receiver, incomplete. He was working at Taco Bell to support his family. Dana Holgorsen said, "We're going to have to scale that back. You're now a part of my team, and you're going to be a big part."
That the receiver went out of bounds on his own and was the first to touch the pass. It's third down.
Yeah, that's going to be an illegal touch because he was out of bounds.
Yeah, he did. You know, he's running a real wheel route right there down the sidelines. Looks like he lost track of where he was running. The foot got out of bounds. He tried to sneak it back in as he caught the pass, but sorry. That's not legal around these parts.
Howard gets it out of his hand quickly to White. Bounces away from a couple of tacklers. Karan White, a 6'1", 198-pound junior who's got great hair.
Karan White, the younger brother of Kevin White. You see Kendall Adams, the safety, come up. He's got him. Karan White makes a miss for the big first down.
That was a low throw. Was it a catch? No, incomplete. Shelton Gibson couldn't get his hands underneath it, but that might have actually worked out well for West Virginia. That probably would have been a loss of a few yards.
It's one of those times where you're glad the receiver doesn't come up with the catch.
Skylar Howard closing in on 300 yards passing. Draw play, Crawford. Gets to the 20. Sure, Mike UL Moore makes the stop for Kansas State. He's a great story.
He is a great story. You know, 2 years ago, had a brain tumor, missed the entire season. Last year, his father passes away about 2/3 of the way through the season, and since then, he has elevated his play. Best he's played since he's been at Kansas State. A great story for the linebacker, Mr. Moore.
Complete. White. It's going to depend on the spot. Did they give it to him? Yes. First down, West Virginia. They convert again.
Boy, Karan White really maturing, growing up before our very eyes. The brother of the top 10 pick at Chicago, Kevin White, making big plays here this afternoon.
They go back to Crawford on the ground. He'll get 3. Moore again wraps him up. Third down as West Virginia is driving here, trying to tie it up. I said third down. Excuse me, second down. Pardon me, 2nd and 7. Four-man rush. Howard being chased from behind. Tanner Wood in pursuit to the end zone. Man open, touchdown. Javon Durant. And West Virginia is an extra point away from taking the lead for the first time. Plays 57 yards in just over 2 minutes. The extra point is good, and West Virginia leads it by 1.
Skylar Howard, the tough, gritty senior, wasn't offered a scholarship. Coming out of high school, he rolls in the pocket. He's buying some time, and he finds his man, Javon Durant, in the corner of the end zone for a Mountaineer lead here late in the 4th.
Nobody's sitting down in Morgantown. The lead belongs to the Mountaineers for the first time today with 6:11 to go. It's 17-16. Dana Holgerson, after that 3-0 start for the 2nd straight year, cautiously optimistic after 3 games. Trying to get to 4-0. Now, keep an eye on the special teams, the return game for Kansas State. This has been the Achilles heel for West Virginia the last couple of years. K-State returns. It's a squib kick. Pringle slips through. And the kicker, Mike Molina, had to help knock him out of bounds. Decent field position here for Kansas State.
We're going to see right here Javon Durant. He's going to run right along the back of the end zone. Skylar Howard rolls out looking for a target. He sees his man, throws it to him, hits him in stride in the corner of the end zone. Off balance, little fling of the wrist. On the money for the Mountaineer lead.
How good, though, has that West Virginia defense been here in the second half under Tony Gibson? That 3 and out, got the football back.
Forced a turnover as well.
Yep. Jones. He'll get 3. Let's get a update on Wisconsin and Michigan.
Hey, Clay, in the big house, tied at 7 into the 4th quarter, but this is Wilton Spate going up top to Amara Darbo, 46 yards, and Michigan has the lead. Back to you.
All right, Brendan. So Michigan back in front in Ann Arbor. Here, West Virginia leads. 5.5 to go. Play clock inside of 5. It's been a trouble spot for this offense all game. Barely got it off. Jones wrapped up and thrown back. Darian Howard, the nose tackle, makes the stop. 3rd down.
Christian Brown, Darian Howard, and West Virginia defensive line playing on the other side of the football there on 2nd down. Puts them in good position here on 3rd and long.
I mean, Kansas State, they're notorious for using all the play clock, but this has been ridiculous today. They need the 49 of West Virginia. Ertz, Cox fires complete. 1st down inside the 40. It is Pringle. And the drive continues for Kansas State.
West Virginia brings pressure here. Man-to-man coverage on the outside. Jesse Ertz stands in there and finds his man Pringle once again for a Kansas State 1st down.
4th catch for Pringle. It's not 61 yards receiving. That was a 19-yard game. Back to the ground and Charles Jones. Now they're in field goal range already. They have 1 timeout remaining, 4 minutes to go.
Running the football right there, getting back to what they do, staying in front of the chains on first down. Kansas State like to grind this fourth quarter out, put themselves in position to take the lead here late in this ball game on the road.
Trying to keep that winning streak against West Virginia alive. It's at 4 games right now. Again, they check the play. Play clock winding down. Run play one more time for Jones. A yard short, third down, and very manageable for Kansas State.
Tough, powerful run right there by Charles Jones. He's patient, and he puts his foot in the ground. He gets north and south, lowers the shoulder, fights for a tough 3-4 yards right there on second down. 3rd and 2 play. We've talked about this down. This is where Kansas State wants to be. This is where they're at their best. 3rd and short type situations.
West Virginia loads the box. Dimmel is in there, the big fullback. Kansas State elects to use its final timeout here.
Well, putting all their eggs in that basket.
So, offensive coordinator Dana Dimmel, who's upstairs, will devise a plan. If you can go inside the communication chain here, what are you expecting Kansas State to decide to do? And how does West Virginia defend it?
I'm expecting them to run the football. And I think that you can go a variety of ways. Wildcats open on this spot, either with Winston Dimmel or Charles Jones. I think RPOs are open. If you're going to throw the football, that's the only way I'm doing it. Quarterback run game is always an option on the zone read. So that's what I'm thinking. You're running the football. The only way you're putting this ball in the air is if it's an RPO situation, a run-pass option. The defense sails out to stop the run, and Ertz can have an open man down the football field.
Surprised Dimmel's not out there here. It's Jones in the backfield with Ertz on 3rd and 2. Jones got the first down. Wow. A gain of 6 when they only needed 2.
It's a zone read right there. He's going to follow his guard. Terrell Johnson up the hole, lowers the shoulder, keeps the legs churning. Nice jump cut right there. And a huge Kansas State Wildcat first down.
West Virginia, they have a couple of timeouts remaining here. 2.5 to go. Kansas State out of timeouts. And Jones, no gain. And West Virginia will call one here. 2:20 to go. Don't forget tonight, 8 o'clock is the kickoff time for number 3 Louisville and number 5 Clemson in Death Valley. The other Death Valley. It's going to be great. Deshaun Watson and Mark Jackson, the 2 quarterbacks. All eyes are going to be on them. Is the game going to be decided by these 2 in your opinion?
I think it's going to be decided by whichever defense can stop these guys. That's where I'm going. Louisville has played well defensively, especially against Florida State on their home field. But going on the road, facing that Clemson offense with Deshaun Watson, all the weapons he has at his disposal, going to test how good that Louisville defense is. And on the other side, my former DC, Brent Venables, had a talented group on that defensive side. And a top 5 defense the last 3 seasons. Will be challenged today by Lamar Jackson.
Brent Venables, of course, a former Kansas State D coordinator. The field goal kicker for Kansas State is Matthew McCrane. He has hit 3 field goals already today. They're within his range. 2nd down and 10. At the 24-yard line, Kansas State got it off ahead of the snap. Jones stumbles, and that's going to be a loss of a yard or 2. And West Virginia stops the clock again with a timeout.
Charles Jones stumbles. Feet get a little bit tangled with his quarterback, Jesse Ertz. Looked like West Virginia was in good position to make the play, but didn't have to. Jesse Ertz Don't know if we get credit with the tackle or not, but his feet were at play right there.
Matthew McCrane has missed only 3 field goals in his entire career. He is 30 for 33. However, he did miss a couple last week, both from 42. Been very dependable for Kansas State. Junior from Brownwood, Texas. He may be called on to give Kansas State the lead here late in this ballgame. So both teams out of timeouts. 3rd down and 12. What do you expect them to do? Run it, right?
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to take a shot here. If they do, expect something easy, quick game for Jesse Ertz.
They are going to throw. Ertz now flushed. He's in trouble. And smartly throws it away to preserve the field position. So now it's up to Matthew McCrane as he tries to put Kansas State back in the driver's seat with just a shade over 2 minutes to go.
Heart's got to be thumping right now. Blood pumping. Kick. Huge kick for him, with a chance for Kansas State to take a late 4th quarter lead here on the road in Morgantown.
This is a 43-yard attempt out of the hold of Mitch Lockbeeler. Snap is good. Hold is good. The kick is no good. First miss today for Matthew McCrane after hitting from 37, 31, and 22.
A little bit different circumstances here with the game on the line. As I mentioned, that heart's got to be thumping. The pressure of that kick, he pulls it just enough. And you see the excitement from the West Virginia sidelines. And we talked about the timeouts, Clay, that Kansas State had to burn earlier in the first half.
Unconventional victory formation, but effective nonetheless for West Virginia as they're going to try and grind out this clock and are poised to go to 4-0 with a bye next week for West Virginia.
Big, what looks like a win for West Virginia here today. Dana Holgorsen, West Virginia, before today, yet to beat the Kansas State Wildcats since they joined the Big 12. Now, I just can't help but think, Bill Snyder, a guy who teams don't make mistakes, don't beat themselves, misusing the timeouts, having to use the timeouts because they're unable to get the snap off in time. I would just have to imagine, Clay, Bill Snyder going to be very upset with what transpired out here on the field today. Unable to get snaps off in time, unable to efficiently run their offense, and have to waste and burn the timeouts, both in the first half and really came to bite them here in the second half.
No doubt about it. They're going to be talking about that this week in Manhattan. Kansas State will host Texas Tech next week before a trip to Norman.
Offside by number 60 of the defense. It's a 5-yard penalty, and it's still 3rd down. There will be a 10-second runoff, and the clock will start on my signal.
Oh, big break there for West Virginia.
Please set the clock to 27 seconds. Thank you.
The Mountaineers, for the first time, are going to beat Bill Snyder as members of the Big 12. Not ranked coming into this week. A lot of people thought, well, maybe the Mountaineers should be in the top 25. After this win, do we see them in the rankings this coming week?
They should probably sneak into the top 25. Wins over Missouri, BYU, and now here fighting, coming back, and finding a way to start off the Big 12 season 1-0 and finally get that first Big 12 victory over Kansas State. Give Dana Holgorsen and the West Virginia Mountaineer team a ton of credit for fighting and finding a way to come out with the win here this afternoon.
A homecoming victory and come-from-behind style in Morgantown. West Virginia in their second half, 17 points on 5 possessions. That gets it done. What a great atmosphere. 17-16, the final. Now we go back to the studio. Brendan and Buck.
Clay, thank you very much. A 1-point win.